When you're ready.
Because of ever-growing developments in the food industry, researchers have explored a number of different dietary shifts due to concerns regarding the economy, climate change, human health, and biodiversity, among other things. Currently, society's reliance on meat-based food products is one of the main contributing factors to an unhealthy lifestyle, not only for human beings, but for other life forms that inhabit the globe as well. As the population continues to increase, the demand for more sustainable food options has become a priority for many individuals. In fact, society has even begun transitioning to more plant-focused eating regimens. This leads us to examine the new or even continued impacts that will emerge as a result of implementing these eating behaviors. So we ask ourselves the crucial question of whether or not we should move towards more plant-focused eating habits in order to reduce meat intake. In order to ensure that society maintains a healthy lifestyle approach, plant-based food options should be making a stronger appearance in the food industry, especially considering that the variety of benefits it has to offer are more favorable compared to those of meat-eating practices. Through our research, a number of different factors were taken into consideration. Some of these elements include the scientific, environmental, and ethical perspectives from which this topic can be analyzed. Now, based on their relevance to plant and meat consumption, we will take a closer look at the ways in which these themes are separately viewed.
When looking into the scientific lens, I found that not only do plant-based diets increase many different health benefits, but also decrease some of the risks that meat-containing diets include. One of the main concerns I found with meat consumption was how the meat breaks down in the body and what accumulates, and how it can harm an individual. For example, according to the Cancer Council, red and processed meat both have carcinogenic characteristics, meaning they have the risk of causing cancer. Red meat contains high iron, which breaks down into an N-nitrosyl compound in the gut that can harm the cells lining the bowel, eventually increasing the risk of developing cancer. Similarly, processed meat contains nitrates, nitrites, and preservatives that break down into the same compound, creating cancer-causing chemicals when burnt or charred, overall increasing the risk of cancer once again. Now, when looking into the other side, into the plant-based diet, I found one of the main health benefits was the increase of fiber consumption. Now, a majority of plant-based diets include different products that are whole grain, vegetables, legumes, nuts, seeds, fruits, etc., that guarantee an increase of fiber. And according to the Mayo Clinic, because of this, bowel movements are normalized with decreased risk of constipation, as well as decreased risk of colorectal cancer and colon disease, which red and processed meat actually increase the risk of. When looking at all different body systems, the plant-based diets not only help just one, they also help the immune system. The immune system's function is to defend the body against different illness or disease, and according to the National Library of Medicine, thrives off of the consumption of fruits and vegetables. For example, beta-carotene, lycopene, lutein, catechins, and flavonoids, all substances found in fruits and vegetables, promote the production of TMP cells. Similarly, phenolics, flavonoids, and anthocyanins, also found in fruits and vegetables, promote the formation of TMP cells. And these cells are crucial to the immune system as they are lymphocytes that attack invading bacteria, viruses, and toxins. So when looking at plant versus meat, it is obvious the plant-based diet is more favorable as it not only promotes the function of different body systems, while also decreasing risk of illness.
While looking through the environmental lens, there are multiple negative outcomes from having a diet based too heavily on meat. These include greenhouse gases, deforestation, and water pollution. When the greenhouse gases are emitted, they harm the atmosphere significantly. One way that greenhouse gases are emitted is through the livestock that produce methane and nitrous oxide. Methane is produced from the livestock's digestive system, and nitrous oxide is produced from the nitrogen that is found in the fertilizers. Both of these gases contribute to climate change even more so than carbon dioxide. Also, the use of supplies that is needed is excessive. That takes for food to be ready for the animals so they are ready for human consumption. These end up emitting carbon dioxide into the atmosphere from all the supplies and materials needed, and they also use fossil fuels from the different transportation that is needed to bring the animals from different places and the meat, which from boats, planes, and different ships. Lastly, a lot of energy is used to package, store, and refrigerate the meat products that both use fossil fuels, contributing to the gas emission problem. Deforestation is also a negative effect of meat production and consumption. Deforestation is the process where a large amount of trees and forests get cleared out, so there is more use for agricultural and for livestock. It leads to loss of biodiversity, and different species lose their habitats. being killed, and even have the possibility of becoming extinct. This is definitely being seen in the Amazon rainforest, and according to Reconati, meat consumption is becoming one of the most relevant sectors in terms of environmental impacts globally. In the Brazilian Amazon, the effects of this process are seen on the ongoing deforestation and land use change. Deforestation also causes soil erosion, loss of soil fertility, and sedimentation in lakes and rivers from runoff. Lastly, deforestation also disrupts water cycles because if trees help absorb water and put it back into the atmosphere, and trees are being taken away, they can no longer do this, and this is a crucial part of our atmosphere. With trees being taken down, this increases the chance for floods, droughts, and even less rainfall. One last negative effect of too much meat in diet is water pollution. Water pollution can lead to eutrophication in lakes and rivers because lakes and water can get filled with different nitrogen and nutrients, which kills aquatic species with overgrowth of algae. It also contaminates human drinking water because if fertilizers and pesticides are being run off into human drinking water, it leads to many negative health effects, including liver damage, skin irritation, and effects on the brain. Lastly, antibiotics from livestock animals can enter bodies of water and cause harm. It can affect different aquatic species and fish, and it can even make antibiotic-resistant bacteria.
I researched the ethical lens and came across three main reasons in support of the transition to a more plant-based diet, these being animal welfare, sustainability issues, and a health crisis. Firstly, animal maltreatment is common in the meat industry because companies have little respect for animal welfare. With millions of animals killed per year, this is concerning that a majority of the meat industry falls short of ethical animal care standards, and this is shown in issues like confinement, unsanitary conditions, cruel treatment, and overcrowding, as shown in the picture. This is inhumane because animals are sentient creatures that experience pain. Animals should not have to endure lives of suffering when plant-based alternatives are available. By reducing meat intake, the number of animals killed per year is reduced, and in turn saving lives of suffering. Secondly, by switching to a more plant-based diet, the environment is benefited. This is because reducing meat is unsustainable and in turn leads to a strain on resources. Looking at the graph, it's clear that red meat has the highest environmental impact of all the foods shown. In fact, according to Coyle and others, it takes an estimated 1,600 liters of water and 147 square meters of land just to produce 1 pound or 1,000 calories of beef. In many regions of the world, land and water are scarce, so it's unethical to produce meat through strain and excessive resources, especially as the global population continues to grow. By switching to more plant-based diets, this inefficiency could be reduced, protecting the Earth's resources for the future. Looking back at the graph, it's also shown that red meat has the highest relative risk of mortality. This ties in my third point of how overconsumption of meat is leading to a health crisis. People consume more meat than necessary. According to Clement Barthel in 2021, the average American ate 200 pounds of meat per year. This excessive meat consumption has been linked to heart disease, stroke, diabetes, cancer, and again, a higher risk of mortality rate. This is an ethical issue because some of these conditions can be inherited and then passed on to future generations. However, by eating a more plant-based diet, the risk of negative health outcomes from meat overconsumption is in turn reduced. In fact, in 2017, Pickles reported that switching to more plant-based diets would save up to 8 million lives a year worldwide by 2050. Overall, in summary, the transition to more plant-based diets can reduce both human and animal suffering while leaving the Earth a more habitable planet for future generations.
Finally, in an effort to support the world in which we live, modifying our eating habits can play a crucial role in maintaining a healthy environment. While there are some limitations to having a more plant-focused society, this transition presents the opportunity to significantly improve some things such as the welfare of animals. It can protect the environment. It can help address resource inefficiencies and promote global health by mitigating things such as risks of diseases and cancers.
Thank you. Ruby, give one specific way your thinking changed as a result of learning about Emmy's findings.
In Emmy's research, she addressed the ethical perspective of the debate and analyzed how not only animals and the environment will be damaged, but also how we consider individuals in society who have food restrictions and how they don't have access to things such as plant-based foods, and how it can be a lot more difficult for them to sort of obtain those ingredients, especially if food labels aren't produced that don't have that type of information.
Okay, Scarlet. If you had another team member, what perspective or limitation could they have researched that would have made a useful contribution to your project?
Yeah, I said that the economic perspective would be really interesting and beneficial for our research because in a lot of cases a plant-based diet is harder to attain and maintain on a daily lifestyle, with plant-based products are more pricey, and also in order to get the nutrients and proteins you need and on a daily basis it can be more expensive compared to a cheaper meat at the grocery store. So I think it'd be really interesting to find economically the limitations and gives more insight on how maybe the solution would be harder to achieve.
Okay. Lucia, what's an example of a compelling argument from one of your peers' individual reports that you decided to exclude from the team presentation, and why did you decide to exclude?
A compelling argument that we decided to exclude from the presentation was probably the financial constraints and how plant-based diet might be too expensive for some people, and there are different limitations for eating a plant-based diet, and how some people think that it's too bland of an option and they'll get bored of it. And we decided not to include this because this was part of the futuristic lens, and we didn't have time for it since we also excluded the whole futuristic lens overall.
Okay, thank you. And Emmy, what is a way in which your team's conclusion makes you think differently about your own individual research?
One way that my team's resolution made me think differently about my individual research is that my team's resolution was, while society should transition more to a plant-based diet, there's still like need for meat in the world, and not all meat needs to be eliminated. And for the most part, my conclusion was similar, but the second part, where meat doesn't need to be eliminated, prompted me to research into the limitations of plant-based eating, and this is where I found that sustainability only goes so far when producing plant-based foods like animal livestock. So while animal livestock uses a significant amount of land and water, producing plant-based foods for the whole world wouldn't do that.
Okay, thank you.